So, yeah, that gives it, and then I have a handheld moisture meter that. Because the one in the combine is usually pretty good, but I like to check it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then if it's off by a couple points, I can adjust it. So, yeah, hopefully that gives it, and then I have a handheld
You do that.
moisture meter that.
I mean, to go out and make sure the
It's
moisture
usually pretty
content
good,
is
but
just
I
right.
check it. It depends.
Yeah.
Once I get going, I can get pretty close to tell. So, but like at your, and I have a hand too whack. I went to another. Try it.
I mean, to go out and make sure the
I
moisture
mean,
content
pretty
is
good. I mean, it's constantly getting moisture every second and a half. It's changing. Like at your, and I have a hand as long as I have it calibrated correctly.
Yeah.
My hand tester says, or when you take it over the outlets, they test every test second and a half. Changing. And as long as I have a hand, as long as I have it calibrated.
But they like the soybeans attached to that
Certain, or when you take it over the outlets.
when you
Second and a half.
how do you separate the
As
beans?
long as I have a hand, as long as I have, so the plants get fed into the combine. And then they have ours is what they call a rotor, so in that combine, there's a long cylinder with like beaters on it and a grate, and it takes them through and it just rubs them across it. And you have it set to different clearances, and then the beans fall through, and you get the husk, and then it goes from there. They feed up augers, and they have they call them, and they open up it, you can open them at different heights, I should say, like different gaps. And it shakes back and forth and the beans flow over it. And ideally, the beans will fall through all the pods and stalk and everything like that. There's a fan that blows through and then that blows it out the back. So you just get everything set as close as you, because you want to get all the beans that you can get, but you don't want all the trash.
Right.
Because they'll dock you if you have
Yeah.
trash in it too. So
That's so cool.
yeah, a lot of settings, a lot of moving around, like the corn I'll play with, and I can do it right from the cab, like if I'm going along and I'm like, oh, it looks like I'm getting too much junk in the tank, I can, right on the fly, I can adjust everything. And dial it in as best you can, because they'll harvest different variety, moisture, everything.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, constantly checking and trying to make sure that you get the best yield that you can get.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
our inputs are so high now, it's crazy.
Oh,
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll have to report back.
Yep, you can tell. Should have recorded, you'd be like, here.
Oh, bitch, god damn it, son of a bitch.
do you have any kids? Yeah.
Oh, Chris.
It does make it a lot more difficult.
Chris.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it's not.
Mine are
it's not.
older, so it doesn't
I'm
matter.
sorry.
They're 25 and 21, but when they're younger, yeah, they have. Because all this.
All right, we are now on YouTube, everybody, so. And Pam. Co-host, you won't need help? Oh, that's all right. That was quiet. No. If anyone, I apologize, if you currently are trying Zoom on your computers here, make sure you mute your computer down in the bottom right corner, because I can hear me. Need help, we'll be happy to help you. I think we're just making sure that people have their computers muted or. Right, you're ready, Supervisor.
All right. We welcome everyone who's here in Zoom and Zoom at home to our November 1st, 2023 special informational meeting. Please join me in our salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the town clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Chase,
Here,
Councilwoman Gordon,
Here.
Councilwoman Morale,
Here.
Councilman Wolliver,
Here.
Supervisor Busey,
Here. This meeting tonight is going to be focused on one subject matter only. So if you try to bring up another subject matter, I will ask you to withdraw your remarks and stay focused on the subject that we're here for. It's a very important meeting. It's obvious. I've been told several times by people that there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what is going on, what has transpired since we passed the resolution to extend the leash for the A Horse's Friend. So if you can't stay on focus, which is the leash for a horse's friend, I'll stay after longer than this meeting is adjourned. If you want to tell me something that you need to have off your chest tonight. So I think we can get right into the meat of the matter, and we can start with a 7-minute presentation, 7 minutes. And that will be the petitioner's sponsor, which is Catherine Hankins, I believe.
No, we're staying with the,
Am I wrong?
no, we didn't want to change it at the last minute. We wanted to stick with what we had. No.
That's what I heard from you all.
Right.
then we changed it again. Okay.
You didn't tell me.
Sorry.
Wow, I thought I did something wrong. Holy.
We just have to make sure because, thank you, because of safety. You got it. Thank you. Pam, you're gonna have to move your mouse.
Okay, so I'm, yeah,
Sorry.
you're gonna give me my screen.
Yeah, we got to make your co-host.
I will make you co-host. Fine. Are you under your
I
name?
got it.
You got it?
Hankins.
All right.
Somebody in the waiting.
Who is it?
I don't know.
It was Doug Scarson.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got him in now.
So,
Sharon, our timekeeper,
so don't
I hear
need
it myself.
It's Catherine's, her computer.
that?
Okay, we need to mute your computer, Catherine. You need to share your screen. You want some help? Okay. And if you can turn your microphone, Catherine, so you can, no, like into your face and. Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Something else going. I did, as soon as she, hopefully she'll try it for you.
So I should. Right here.
Yep.
Okay, and do I have to push a button?
It's on.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So you can see up there and I'll do it here. So this is a presentation. The title is Why I Started a Petition for a Referendum in Our Community. So I hope this is positive. Oh,
The microphone's on. She just has to talk directly into it.
okay, I'll use my cheerleader voice. Okay, it's why I started a petition for a referendum in our community. Just as who I am, I'm a 35-year Rush resident. I have a BA from the University of Rochester. I have more than 40 years of work experience in the nonprofit administration. And I also have education and experience in new building construction and renovation projects. I have experience as a grant and program development writer, and including after school and recreation programs for youth and children with adults and adults with disabilities. So I was appointed, maybe more relevant for tonight, I was appointed by the former town supervisor Anderson to serve on the Citizens Committee, which was to provide suggestions to the board for the uses of the BOCES property. The committee researched and compiled a wide range of park and recreation activities for residents that fit deed restrictions, protect the natural features of the land, support rural and agricultural interest, and not be a tax burden to the community. The right to petition the government is deeply rooted in our democracy. It's founded on the First Amendment right of the United States Constitution, and it's also founded on our New York State town law that allows citizens to petition. It's called a permissive referendum for leases and land sales and other laws as well. But for my purposes, that was what it was. A referendum, I looked into it. I tried to make sure that it wasn't going to be a cost to our town. Referendums can be a positive experience for communities. A referendum can provide an opportunity to prevent and avoid future unforeseen problems, answer questions and concerns of voters, bring different groups, neighbors, residents, businesses, and taxpayers together, and correct, as Supervisor Kusi said, any misinformation and misunderstandings. Citizens get to actively participate and decide what they want for their town. The petition for a referendum I was called by someone from Horse's Friend because they said I had a petition that was faulty. It was just what it was. You have to do it by the law. And so in that petition, the law says you have to say, I protest against the Rush Town Board resolution. I was not protesting against a Horse's Friend. Nobody who signed the petition wanted to protest against a Horse's Friend. They were protesting against a referendum. They were protesting and requesting a referendum about the resolution authorizing the execution of an amended lease with a Horse's Friend for real property that belongs to the town of Rush. And the foregoing proposal was to amend the lease that extends the duration and expands the amount of property to the year 2035. Everybody knew what it was. I did most of the knocks on the door, and I can stand by my word that I never said anything negative, nothing negative about a Horse's Friend. That was not the goal. The goal was to make sure we're living by the rules. Want that clear. My reasons for starting the petition included many unanswered questions from the board action to change the name from refuge to farm in the summer. The board presentation on August 23rd by the Horse's Friend was a 5-year plan that reported horse farm operation activities, horse boarding, and horse leasing. The board meeting on September 13th raised questions and concern about a signed lease and amendment. The amendment was passed without any opportunity for the public to ask questions. The signed lease was from August 5th, 2022, and it's still not on the town website. I had to request whether I had to have a FOIL request to get that lease, which I did get, but it was never put on the website. No detailed first-year evaluation and results were provided to the public. And the town attorney's expectation when the lease was first initiated in June was that there would be permits and planning board reviews before programs began. I cannot find anything on the agendas or minutes that any planning board ever met, any permits were ever given. And I don't see any secret reviews for any of the activities. And most important, I could not find any urgent need that was presented by the board for a proposed 10-year extension. I can't find anything. And now I am very deeply concerned about the impact of 30 horses on 16 acres of pasture, the long-term impact on a nature park in the Genesee River watershed. The Monroe County Soil and Water in 2012 said 2 cattle per acre. The standard for horses is 2 acres for 1 horse, 1 acre for additional horses. That would be a much less threshold than 30 horses. More questions now after this came to a petition. Has the zoning changed for this land? Are electric fences now legal in our town? I thought they were only legal on commercial farms. What are the zoning regulations for horse farm operations? Why is the lease proposed and posted in June so different than the lease signed in August? It's not clear that the proposal that the cultivated fields and the administration building were ever included in the original lease. When did the proposal go beyond the pastures and a horse barn and arena? Did the lease change from 2 years to 3 years? When did that happen? Didn't the original lease say the town would receive both monthly rental income plus cost of repairs? Why did the cost of repairs become credits against rent with carryover credits from year to year? So the list goes on. But I think it's most important to realize this is 215 acres of public land, park land, given to us by the New York State Office of General Services, given to us by BOCES, who had purchased it from them with an acquisition agreement. The New York State Transportation Museum did get approval from the state of New York. This operation did not get approval from the state of New York. This property was conveyed to our town in 2011. The acquisition agreement approved by New York State changed the BOCES.
30 seconds.
Oh, well, you're gonna miss out on a lot. Required the use from education to park and recreation and ancillary uses. That's a critical understanding that it is not park and recreation, it's education. And even the lease says this is an educational venture. The land was given to us with strings attached. The land cannot be legally sold, leased, or licensed for any other purpose without state legislation and governor's approval. Okay, and I want to just say, there's a reverter clause. If we do not follow the law, the state can take back the land. That's what we have to follow. I have other slides, and if you want them, I'll be glad to give them. And I have a much more extensive report that would highlight what other changes we required back in 2017. Thank you.
Thank you. I failed to mention up front at the start of the meeting that Sharon Knight, sitting next to our town clerk, will let you know if you're going over or getting close to going over on your presentation. So Sharon is watching the clock for me, and will continue to do so. Next, we have
Supervisor, beforehand, Catherine, can you stop sharing your screen? Thank you very much.
what did
I need her to stop sharing her screen so we can get ready for the next presenter. I don't know if Pam is able to do that or not. Oh, there we go. No, thank you. We will do that.
You already do it.
I did not. I think we were both doing it at the same time. Did you find her on? Oh.
Karen, if you want to come to the podium and get the mic positioned so we can hear you.
She's gonna do the photo presentation.
Oh, okay. Matt, you're gonna, yeah,
Yep.
put it right up. You can tell us who you are, sir? Oh, okay. She's got to share her screen first. Can everyone out there hear okay? Is it working, Karen? Oh, here it comes.
Good evening, Supervisor Kusi. Matthew Doward. I'm the founder and director or president of Horses Friend. Thank you for the opportunity to come here today and share our story. I work with kids, horses, and farm work, not necessarily a public speaker. After I tell you a little bit about a Horses Friend, Karen Caton, one of our board members, will come and continue the presentation, and then I'll come back at the end. I founded a Horses Friend 20 years ago so that city kids would have a chance to experience a farm and work with horses, learn to care about animals and to ride, and work with other kids. A Horse's Friend is a unique program promoting positive values, teaching children respect through the use of horses and horseback riding. Our program is educational, recreational, agricultural, and highlights the rural nature of the town of Rush. Actually, it's not in my presentation, but this program started 20 years ago in Rush. It started at 375 Stony Brook Road. It was Terra Vista. In August 2022, we signed a 3-year lease. Although the buildings were deteriorating, grounds were badly overgrown, fences were broken down, I believe that with hard work, this was a place for our horses and program kids. This was an amazing new beginning for A Horse's Friend. We cleaned, we repaired, we painted, we installed a well for our horses. We put a new roof on a run-in. We mowed, we trimmed, we repaired fences and had fences donated by Mr. Bruce Howlett. We had new fences put in. They were also minimized the wood products that we used, and also they're solar powered.
Moving to this incredible property provides the opportunity to expand our program to more kids, improve facilities, and expand services and events. These opportunities require long-range planning, which is why we wanted a 10-year lease. Expanded programming includes offering year-round programs for Rush and Henrietta youth, continuing outreach to city and county youth agencies, along with the Rochester City School District, Boy and Girl Scouts, and school and child care groups. Improving facilities includes restoring the horse barn and tack room, which will free up the indoor ring for riding. Having hay, storage sheds, run-ins, a garden, and larger indoor riding rings are also in the plans as well. Expanding services. Expanding services include special events such as team building outings, celebrations, and community events, along with offering the farm as a field trip destination for special demonstrations and hosting clinics. The pasture would also be a sanctuary for retired horses. Our vision for the future includes collaborating with the Rush community to reclaim the school as a community center, which would provide bathroom and public water facilities, picnic areas, playgrounds for everyone. As a nonprofit, AHF, A Horse's Friend, may be eligible for grants not available to the town. Implementing these plans and vision requires commitment in terms of time, land, and buildings. So we requested a 10-year lease to provide long-term stability for investing time and effort to plan, fund, and implement our plans. 10 years was also the same term as the New York Transportation Museum, Rochester and Genesee Valley Train Museum, and the Monroe County Fair, so it seemed a reasonable request. These plans do not require any additional farm acreage, as our current land use of approximately 80 acres, or about 30% of the 215 acres on the farm, meet our needs. Regarding building commitment, in July 2023, the town secured a $125,000 grant from the Rochester Area Community Fund, based in part on the barn being available to A Horse's Friend for its youth horsemanship program. This grant only provides for making the barn safe for entry, so A Horse's Friend committed time and money to make the barn usable. A Horse's Friend is willing to support the grant with the knowledge that we would apply for a 10-year lease and had no reason to think it would not be approved. The horse barn was added to the lease amendment. A 10-year lease allows A Horse's Friend to work on long-term projects like this, instead of other short-term projects that would benefit A Horse's Friend if the lease would not be extended in 2 years. If A Horse's Friend decides not to work on the grant, then the town may lose the grant. Also, if the extended lease term is not approved, this leaves A Horse's Friend in an untenable position. unsure of the commitment by the town, and unable to make any long-term plans, including a commitment to the grant.
More information is available on our website at ahorsesfriend.org and on our Facebook page. We invite everybody to come out to A Horse's Friend to see the property and facilities and learn more about what we've been doing on November 4th at 1 to 2:30 p.m. And yes, there will be coffee and cider. We want to say that we're proud to be a part of the Rush community and thank the town board for giving us the opportunity to come out and speak today.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Saturday,
Your
November.
time, I'm sure, is running out, so she's gonna give you the 30 seconds soon.
Which number is it? I'm sorry. So the benefits of A Horse's Friend being at the property, we've maintained the space very well. We've invested $21,190 in improvements to date. We have a large volunteer base. We have put in 128,556 in in-kind community service hours. We have collaborated with the Train Museum and the Trolley Museum, and we pay $18,000 in annual income yearly.
Thank you.
I didn't time myself. And Karen, can I also ask you to stop sharing? If that would be okay.
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 All right. And now really, I was gonna read that.
Okay.
And now, you can hear from the Rush Town Board. And I will not go first.
So as soon as my timer starts, what we've put together for the public, both at Zoom and both here in person. And we've appreciated all the communications, and we encourage you all to continue to communicate with us on this project. So let me get my shared screen, as everyone else did such a nice job. So this is the informational meeting you're at. The supervisor went over the guidelines with you, and I'm just going to try to do my best to show you the difference as far as for the amended lease. Get it to switch. Maybe it doesn't want. Sharon, don't start timing me now.
Oh, you used a minute.
I have a feeling. From beginning, let's try that. All right. I'm better when someone else is sharing their screen. Why is it not? There we go. Oh, one too many. Okay. So the 2022 lease, as you know, was for a term till December 31st, 2025. The 2023 amended lease, the extension was till December 31st, 2035. And you've heard the reasons why. Our timeline, and I'm not sure if I can ask the town clerk to minimize her pictures, if that will help, so people at home in here can see it. This endeavor started back in 2020 with that then Deputy Supervisor Victoria Mossetti. She reported at a town board meeting with Matthew Doward at a town board meeting on November 2020. In November of 2020, A Horse's Friend came and did a presentation. Was on the agenda. It was for the public to view and participate. In 2021, January, AHF came back because remember COVID hit us. So they came back and did an additional presentation a year, not quite a few months later. And then in February of 2021, two council persons met with AHF to discuss their financial information as we were looking to see if a partnership would work. On June 2022, AHF lease discussion open at a town board meeting on the agenda. Also at that same meeting, we then passed a resolution authorizing the execution of the lease with A Horse's Friend, which passed unanimously by the town board. August of 2022, Howlett Farms and A Horse's Friend did some sharing at our town board meeting about, the joint relationship. On August of 2023, a Horses Friend came back again. And that was where they were asking for the extension of their lease because of all the hard work they had put into and their short-term and long-term goals. Some had been met. We then amended the lease on September 13th, 2023, where we passed a resolution after discussion at a town board meeting. People before then had come to public comment periods and made comments about it. Then that same meeting, September 13th, because as you're going to hear in a minute, we discovered during the New York State Transportation Museum amendment of their lease, there was a parcel that was shared in both leases. So we had to both work on the Horses Friend amended lease and the New York State Museum of Transportation. And during that time, the Transportation Museum and a Horses Friend jointly worked together on a memorandum of understanding. And then on October 25th, just last month, the town board rescinded the resolution to authorize the amendment to the lease with the Horses Friend. So the lease premises, which was in question, that if you can see buildings 5, 6, 8, and 9, the building that was added to the amended lease was building 7, and that was because of the $125,000 grant that we got in working with a Horses Friend. And I'm going to show you a map, hopefully. What you see yellow highlighted are the buildings in both leases. And the purple one in the middle is the horse barn that we've gotten the $125,000 grant through the wonderful work of Pat Stevens, our recreation supervisor. Other than that, nothing has changed between the 2022 and the amended 2023 lease. This is the same that's in the 2022 lease. It's in the 2023 lease. The purple areas that you see are the pastures. The kind of orange or amber color is the south field. So these are part of.
map?
I'm sorry, but someone's. Oh, what was?
It's Dan.
Oh, Dan. Dan, is that you?
I don't see a map.
It might be delayed maybe for people at home. Did it pop up now?
No.
Phyllis, can you see it? I don't know why, Dan, you're not getting it. Give me 10 seconds.
There,
Old Forge, Dan, probably has no Wi-Fi, right?
we're kind of slow up here.
Between 2022 and the 2023 amended lease, additional rights all stayed the same. And our Wi-Fi is a little slow right now. Come on. Why I'm pushing the button. Why isn't it doing anything? If I can get to it. So this map right here is the New York State Museum of Transportation map. And if I were to show it better, this came to light when we were looking to amend the 2023 Horses Friend lease and the Transportation Museum.
30 seconds.
And it came to light because the previous administration, this Schedule A, we learned from the Transportation Museum was not on file here in the town from 2018. And we discovered that that yellow highlighted area was in the Transportation Museum 2018 lease and a Horses Friend. So the MOU that the two organizations worked out with the town has allowed them to jointly use that parcel. Thank you. That's okay. I will uphold. I'll just leave that up there since I can't talk. All right, sir, I am done.
You can speak.
I can speak again.
Absolutely.
This is just a comparison of all leases that are subject to a permissive referendum. Licenses are not. I will stop sharing. I'll be happy to put it up on the website as well.
If we could get all of them to put on the website, that would be great. If you could send them to Pam@townofrush.com.
All right, Supervisor. back to you.
Say something.
I can, yes.
I'd like you to.
I hope that everybody can see from these presentations what is actually happening on that piece of property and improvements and the changes that have come about as a result of the work done by a horse's friend. Anybody who's been there before and goes there now is, I think, blown away. At least that's, I have been personally. And those are the comments that I have heard from residents. And I'm sure you could see the extent of the changes. There were not many changes in the amended lease, in my opinion. I hope that this has been informative to the people here in town, so they know exactly, although I think Mrs. Corbin had showed how many times this has been presented in public to inform people what's going on, what's being planned. Everything has been at public meetings. Everything has been conducted properly. We always consult with our attorney. And any of the changes that are being made, adding that building is getting a grant to fix it. Otherwise, it would probably have to be torn down. Does that make sense, people? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That's pretty well. I'm willing to hear what the public has to say now.
I would just like to emphasize that no place in any of these discussions that we've had was there any discussion about increasing the size of the land for the lease. That is not true, absolutely not true. And I happen to live not too far from the site of the Rush White Springs Farm. And I've taken a couple of visitors down there and all have the very, very same reaction. And that is, oh my gosh, it looks so much different than it did 10 years ago. Well, it does look different. It looks better. It's now alive with activity. And to see horses there, which I haven't seen there in 25 years, is a good sight to see. And to hear stories about the trolley running around the loop there and the horses being there, it's just a wonderful improvement on that site. And I just can't say enough how much we appreciate a horse's friend being over there, in addition to the New York Museum of Transportation and the Rochester Genesee Valley Railroad. I might speak again, but right now I'm looking forward to someone in the audience speaking. Do we have a list?
What about Dan?
Oh, do you want to ask Dan Williver anything?
Oh, Dan.
He said he was gonna wait. He already spoke. You can speak again.
I think it looks wonderful over there. It's and it hasn't cost the town anything. That's been our goal since the beginning.
Thank you.
And while Sharon Knight brings up those of you who wanted to sign up to speak, we've also written in the chat, anyone who's at home on Zoom that would like to speak, please send it to either the town clerk, Pamela Busey, or myself, Amber Corbin, and we will get you up for your 3-minute time frame. And we have an excellent timekeeper, as you saw.
Thank you. All right. Is Pat Kraus ready to speak?
Tricia Kraus, 2729 Pinnacle Road, Rush. I support the 10-year extension of the lease for a horse's friend. As a volunteer, I see firsthand the excellent care of the horses and the pastures. Anyone who has a concern about the number of horses, just come and look at the way the pastures are managed. I also see the personal growth and happiness of the children. Our great town should be proud to host this great organization. By tuning into the strengths and needs of each child, this nonprofit lets marginalized young people see a better side of life. Great lessons are learned in the interaction between human and horse, each needing love and respect from the other. The kids learn to respect themselves and others, with many becoming mentors for their peers. It's a huge credit to Rush that A Horse's Friend has its home here. As a Rush resident and as a member of the Rush Recreation and Park Association, I fully support the 10-year extension of the lease for A Horse's Friend. Thank you. Now, the rest I'm going to say is on behalf of Ann Stevens, who could not be here tonight, but gave me permission to repeat the thoughts that she shared with the town board in support of the 10-year extension of the lease for A Horse's Friend. So this is on her behalf. Ann Stevens, 6373 East River Road. In over 30 years living next door, we've made probably all of the vandalism calls that the town has received on that property. We're the ones who are walking and watching that land. I share a lot line with A Horse's Friend. They're a great neighbor. Since A Horse's Friend moved in, there's been no more vandalism, no more fires, no more people doing drugs in our neighborhood. The deed requires that it be used for education and recreation. A Horse's Friend is an educational and recreational nonprofit organization. Its presence on this property is a win-win for both the town and the community in countless ways.
30 seconds.
We could not have selected a better neighbor because of A Horse's Friend. The Community Foundation has granted more than $100,000 to repair the barn. The foundation is about building community and lifting people up. That's what A Horse's Friend does. So I support the 10-year extension of the lease for A Horse's Friend. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe our next speaker is Mr. Richard Updaw.
Yeah, I'm Dick Updaw, and
In the mic, please.
I'm not gonna be able to speak in the mic too much. I'm gonna have to talk a little loud. I just have to explain, I have a broken vertebrae in my back and I've got a permanent back brace on for
Oh,
the next
no.
month. But I have a hard time leaning over, but I'll try to talk in the mic. I've lived in the town of Rush ever since I got out of the military in 1970. I own a farm on West Henrietta Road. I'm the guy with a World War II Marine carving in the front yard. And for all the time that I've been on that farm and all the time I've lived in Rush, I've always had animals. Horses, goats, dogs, cats, donkeys, and a llama or two also. So fast forward to several years ago, I married Terry Irvine, a gal who I've known for 40 years. Her mother had Terra Vista Trails and Terra Vista Farms on Stony Brook Road. And about the same time, Matt Doward came in and rented the property right next to Terry's that they used to own. And that's where he established A Horse's Friend. So I dealt with Matt for the past 5 or 6 years. And he's been nothing but a great friend of mine. Cherry actually rented him one of her horse pastures, and Matt sent help over. He had volunteers. They came over and they got the pasture cleaned up, and he just took great care of it. He brought a pair of Percher and mares in that were a team, and he said, if you want to drive them, Dick, go ahead, put a harness on them. And I've never been able to do it because I suffered a back injury. So I haven't been able to do that. But I'm also familiar with the BOCES campus because back when BOCES had a equestrian instructor there, he was a good friend of mine, Craig Sweeting. And I was over on that campus a lot when they were teaching youngsters horsemanship through the BOCES program. And then I watched it go to pot once BOCES moved out, and like everybody else here has said, it's been just weed infested and everything until Matt Doward moved in again with a horse's friend. So I would say Terry and I visited about 6 months ago, and we went through all the facilities, and we were just amazed at the kind of care that his animals are given and the kind of housing that he's established for his housing. And I just can't say enough about Matt. And the other thing I want to say, I thought I was coming to a meeting just to get the lease situation straightened out. But in the meantime, I've heard a lot of negative comments directed toward a horse's friend. And I just want to say one comment that has stuck in my mind, and it was up on the screen earlier when Catherine put it up there, that she thought electric fencing was illegal and there shouldn't be electric fencing on that property. Well, all I would say is anybody that's interested, drive around the town of Rush, and wherever you see animals being housed, I'll guarantee you within probably 95% of them, they'll have some type of electric fencing involved. There's nothing illegal with electric fencing. I've used it in the 50 years that I've been here on my farm, and I'm sure most of the horse owners and cattle owners there have used it themselves. So I would just say, I guess my time's up, so I can't say enough about Matt Howard. Enough good things.
Thank you. All right, Phyllis, would you like to speak?
Phyllis Wickerham, 105 Beyond Oak Court. I don't dispute anything about the Horse's Friend and what they're doing over on this property, but that's not what this meeting is about. This meeting is about a permissive referendum. Petition was signed because there are some things that the town board has not followed. There are, I mean, my concern is that there should be legislation that allows the town board to do this. You have not followed any of the protocol, any of the procedures to allow this lease to go through. So that is what the concern is. That was why the permissive referendum was brought. The board should look at the lease terms and go down through and look at how they can adjust those terms to stay within the deed restrictions that the town is required to follow on that property. That's what the permissive referendum was about. It has nothing to do with who is there. It has to do with the purpose that's being used. And I would really strongly encourage the board to go back and look at what the laws and the deed restrictions and what the state told you you were allowed to do way back in whatever year it was, that 1990 something. But like Catherine said, there were restrictions and you have not looked at that and followed the protocol necessary to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Sheg.
Don Sheg, 979 West Rush Road. I just have a few questions that I would reiterate. This is, to me, not about a horse's friend. It's really about the fact that the tenant is a company, and the company, called a horse's friend in this case, makes money, as all companies do, by charging for the boarding of horses, by charging for trail rides to the public, by charging for youth instructional camps. According to the website, it's $300 for a 6-week course, but it's a company. And my question is, it being a business, when, and I believe it went back to 2020 when one person brought a horse's friend to the town board. My question is, when was an RFP sent out regarding this land? Because there's other businesses that do largely the same as this tenant does. Is there an RFP online? Was an RFP sent out? How many businesses submitted plans for a possible lease on that land. The other questions I have relate to the is it a 501(c)(3) corporation? I mean, if the lease is in fact legal, which is questionable, and who is on the board? Who's the president? Who's the secretary? Who's the treasurer? Does the board hire the director of operations for the business? At what salary is that person hired? And the tenant makes money by offering the stabling of horses and, as I said, trail rides. And yet, why is cash accepted for payment? And how is that accounted for? That really becomes questionable in my mind. Finally, a couple things. Mr. Wolliver said that the town doesn't cost the town anything. Well, nothing in the lease talks about who's plowing the place. My corporation that I owned for 25, 30 years plowed Bosse's property. It was a very detailed, and actually it was a very lucrative contract because with horses there and sheep, we had to plow it every 2.5 inches. At today's rate, that $18,000 is going to be used up pretty quick if the place is plowed correctly and salted. And so that the other last thing I'd say is there's not a company out there that doesn't require a $5 million umbrella. And I looked at this lease is a $1 million general liability. In today's world, that just wouldn't cut it. You could not do work as a contractor with most companies unless you presented a $5 million umbrella. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I don't see her, but there she is. Thank you, Ann.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ann McMicken. I live at 6542 Rush Lima Road. I have been here for 40 years, and I'm a happy member of the Rush community. A lot of people may recognize me from marching in parades. I'm a longtime scout leader. I'm retired from the University of Rochester, and I'm keeping busy in retirement by being outside every day. I looked back at my list, and I'm also a member and a founding member of the Rush Recreation and Parks Association. I have been documented over on the property 23 different times. I know you'll be impressed by that, since 2020, and I go there all the time. And I'm a naturalist, and I lead bird walks over there and other kinds of naturalist activities. On May 7th of 2020, there were 35 species of birds identified in 3 hours by about 15 different expert birders. May 11th, 2023, we saw 72 different types of birds, and it's a direct result of the improvements related to the property and the improved environment that's present there. And of special note, there were both bobolinks and meadowlarks present that have not been on that property for years and years and years, and we saw them right in front of us. So I just want to say that we've been over there many, many times. We have always been treated with respect. It's a safe environment. Nobody's ever had a question about that. And the staff have treated us with respect and acknowledgement that we were there for joint purposes. I look forward to lots more years birding on the property that you guys are doing such a beautiful job with. I just strongly, my husband and I both strongly recommend that we continue this lease if it's legal, and I'm going to leave that to you guys to work that part out. I did send a lot of information and data to the town council and Supervisor Cusey in advance, and I would be happy if anybody would be interested in that. It could be posted on the town website as well. I won't take the time to go over all those points. I've summarized it enough, but I just think this is a wonderful match for the town of Rush. I love our farms. We struggle to continue them. We're building young people who are going to continue. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Ann. Sally Ward, I see you.
Good evening, Supervisor. I'm Sally Ward. I reside at 2705 Pinnacle Road, and I'm here to speak in support of reissuing the lease to A Horse's Friend. I grew up with horses. I've been around them all my life. Horseback riding is my favorite form of recreation. I've been out to tour A Horse's Friend and to learn about what they're doing out there. And here's what I've discovered. They're providing really healthful recreational opportunities for underprivileged kids that support their well-being, and it's physical and mental well-being. Now, I'm a leadership coach by profession, and I believe strongly in Horses Friends' mission to help underprivileged kids learn valuable life and leadership skills while engaging in healthy recreation. There have been a lot of studies that have shown that people who are fortunate enough to be able to interact with horses experience reduced feelings of tension and anger. Now, finding out how to care for and relate successfully to these huge, powerful animals, the kids in the program are not just learning to ride. They are gaining the same benefits that our kids or other kids might gain from being on a football team or a basketball team. They're learning responsibility. They're learning patience. They're learning impulse control. They're learning how to cooperate with others. They're learning empathy. They're learning safety. A Horse's Friend is teaching them, instilling in them values of respect and discipline and cooperation, the same values we need in any other sport and in life. And I would submit, and I hope you'll all agree, that those leadership attributes are pretty sorely needed in our society these days. I also see that having a Horse's Friend continue as a long-term on-site steward of the property sharply reduces the likelihood and the potential liability to the town of vandalism, arson, and other unwanted mischief. I think it's truly an exemplary program.
30 seconds.
It can be a point of pride to Rush. It's a compliment to our rural heritage, and it's an asset to the greater community. For all these reasons, I strongly urge that the lease be reissued. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. And we have Paula Hanson.
I think she's decided not to speak.
She decided not to speak.
I believe it's mainly an issue of.
If you do want it, we need to get you on record. Again, if you give us your name and your town you reside in.
Paula Hanson, 20 Dixon Woods. What? I'm a little nervous coming up here. Honeoye Falls. I can't say enough about A Horse's Friend. Although I believe it has been said, the issue, I believe, is not extending the lease. It's what hasn't been done in the past for those that seem to don't understand I don't understand all of the referendums and all of that. It's not defending A Horse's Friend. I think it's more of an issue of the getting the lease, the agreements, etc. in order. But I cannot say enough about that organization. I have been there several times. I am impressed every single time I go out there. The leadership, the dedication. Matthew has dedicated his life to this program and to these children. And it would be a shame if this didn't stay in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
So Supervisor, so far I have no one on the chat feature. Town Clerk, do you have anyone? I don't see any red on the, right? I don't. So currently, Supervisor, there's no one on Zoom to asking to speak or make comment.
Going once.
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Yeah, this is
Robin, I think I hear your voice. 1 second. We did not see you in the chat.
yeah. Okay. Well, there I am. Robin Rapport, 16 Meadowood, Rush, New York, Earth. Just have a couple of questions. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic place, and kudos to Matt wonderful, wonderful job, apparently. I'm confused though. There's 10, count them, 10 memorandum lease agreements, amendments, et cetera, on the website, the town website. I have no idea what's current, what's in fact pending, and what is not pending. So that's the first question: is what is going on? The second one is directly to Matt. I'd like to know who. If I go there to ride a horse, or if I bring some kids, or some kids come from the city of Rochester, who's paying for this? The ability to ride a horse or to do whatever. Do they pay at the time they go in? Do I pay right there in cash? Is it not free? It's a grant. No. So the financial question is up in the air for me, and that's it. Those two serious questions I feel need some resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Again, if you'd like to speak, please enter your name in the chat feature to either the town clerk, Pamela Busey, or myself, Amber Corbin, and we'll be happy to call on you. At this point, we don't see anyone else on Zoom, Supervisor. I don't think the town clerk
All right, then we can adjourn.
sees anyone.
All right, having no further.
Oh, looks like someone else wants to speak, Supervisor,
Someone like to speak?
that didn't sign up.
Mary was a presenter, but she can speak.
No, she did not. It was Karen and Matt.
Well, she represents the group that presented, so.
That is true. I'm on the board of A Horse's Friend. I live in 10 Springwood Lane, Pittsford, New York. My name is Mary Reed. To address the question about being a business, yes, we're a nonprofit. Yes, we try to run it like a business. We have to have money because it costs a lot of money. As most people in this room know, if you're into farming or horses or anything like that, there's a lot of expense involved in that, and that has to be paid for. And so, yes, we have orders. That's a small part of it. We get grants for purposes of paying for the kids who are coming in from the city because they don't have the money to be here. Other kids come because their parents do have the money and they pay the fee. So the liability, I want to clear that up. We have $3 million worth of liability insurance. The other thing I'm confused about is the two purposes for the petition were, one, the lease. Why the 10 years? And I did not understand in the comments from Mrs. Hankins that that was addressed. And two, that we got additional property. That was the other reason. I still don't know what that is. And so if those were the purposes for the petition, to ask this community to vote yes or no on a 10-year lease, there's a lack of clarification around the purpose of the petition to begin with, at least in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak that hasn't spoken?
Yes.
Please, your name and address.
Yep, Linda Graney, 260 Phelps Road in Rush, and whatever you can do to pass this 10-year lease, I'm all for it. It's a great place, like everyone said. I can't reiterate anymore. Everybody said what they can about the place. It's wonderful, and whatever you need to do to pass it, I hope you can figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Couple hands up.
For those of us who don't know you, your name and address, please.
I'm Carol Barnett, 117 Lions Road. I don't have any prepared remarks, but I just want to say the purpose of the petition is to ask why the extension of time and why the expansion of property. That it doesn't need to explain itself any more than that. There was a big change in the grant of land rights that was given, and the law lets you request a referendum on that. There was an addition of 10 years, and there was an addition of property from, and there's another irregularity, which there's a petition or a lease dated May 18th. That's the lease that's up on the website, but that's not the lease that was signed. And there's an important change between the first and the second, which is the $18,000 is allowed to be taken in credits, to be paid in credits and not paid directly to the town, but rather the Horses Friend would be given credits for work done on its own behalf instead of having to pay the town rent directly. And that change is made in the August version, which I don't remember the exact date. It's August something of 2022. That's not the version that's up on the website though. So there was a detailed like blow by blow of all the things that happened, but that discrepancy was not addressed. That the version that's up on the website is dated May 18th. It's not the version the parties signed. And there was a steady drip of addition. There was an addition of the South Pasture. I think that happened between the May version and the August version, and that continued in the 2023 version. That's a big chunk of property. I think it goes from being called the South Field to the South Pasture, maybe because it's going to be used for pasture, but that is a change. It's a change that went from May to August and then was perpetuated in the August 2023 version, but it is an addition of land. And also there's the change, which is that the rent can be paid by doing work on your business that in some cases increases the value of the property to the owner, which is the town, for example, by having a well, but not in every case. In some cases, the payments are for things that allow it to be the business that the Horses Friend wants to conduct. It doesn't necessarily directly benefit the town, but the town is taking that in lieu of rent. So that is a change. To me, it's an irregularity that it was a change from the May version to the August version, which isn't even addressed in the town's presentation. So yeah, I think that those changes in the terms of the lease, the length of the lease, and the amount of land being leased, or the amount of property being leased, addition of a building, addition of a pasture, those are things that under state law you're allowed to petition to have a referendum on. And that right to petition, it goes back to the Bill of Rights, goes all the way back to the Magna Carta. So I don't think anybody needs to explain themselves for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll invite anyone else who wants to speak. Name and address, please.
Yes. Colleen Koss. I live on 6094 East River Road, about a quarter of a mile from the Horses Farm. And I have walked that property for 15 plus years, almost every day, every week, every year. And I've been one of the ones also that have called for people that have broken into the school, and to Ann Stevens and her husband's. I just want everybody to know that every year before Matt was there, they were out there with their weed whackers, their saws, and they were picking up all of BOCES around all the schools. They were the caretakers for that property until Matt came. And now Matt came and the property is absolutely beautiful. And I know there's technical things going on, but this organization, those nature trails, the acre farm, the bird walks, this is an opportunity for the town to really embrace all of that and really make this into something that could be, people would come from around the county to come and see. And I just think it's an amazing opportunity. He kind of started it and people are feeling more pride. People are coming to the Railroad Museum now. They're taking walks, and if it would get mowed a little bit more, it'd be better, but the nature trails are great. And you have done a nice job in putting some culverts in there to make it so that it's easier to walk. So I just can't say enough for the volunteers and, you know, like they have volunteered. Matt works 7 days a week. You know, last year he took 1 day off to see his son graduate. I mean, come on, he's like the hardest guy I know that, and you know, all he wants is to be helping kids, you know, and I think for this community to embrace that and to really to make it a win-win, that it could really be something that you could be really proud of, that whole area. So I would get the technical things straightened out and really support having the longer lease so that these things could happen for this area. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, while we're on a roll, would anyone else like to speak?
That hasn't spoken. Do you want me to address anything, or would you want to just
If
close the
you'd
meeting?
like to address something, by all means.
I know a comment came up from someone about the maps and the addition of land, and I just want to make sure the purpose of this meeting is so that we are all on the same page. So if you can indulge me just for a moment, I'm going to put the map back up there. That is in the 2022 lease and the amended 2023 lease that has been rescinded. And it has not changed. The purple and the orange / amber, and I say that just because that's my name, is the same from the 2022 lease that was signed to the 2023 lease. And we did ask the town clerk to put up all the signed leases. You will not find any other leases for any of our other properties that we have. The Historical Society signed lease is not up there for the 1911 house. The license for the train museum is signed. So I understand that's that's the purpose of this meeting, is so we can hear what you're saying and hopefully clarify your questions that you may have asked us. The other thing I heard was that the cost for maintaining the road over on their property is a town road. It's the responsibility of our highway department, whether it was, but once it became town property, does anyone remember the name of the road? Sam asked. Forest Lane. That is considered correct, Supervisor, a town road. So it is the responsibility of the highway department. And those are just a few things that I just jotted down. So that's all I have to say at this. Please call us, the town board, write to us, ask our questions. That's what we're here for. Our emails are on the website. You can call the supervisor, the town clerk, his secretary. Pat Stevens is our facilitator of that property. She's done an incredible job. If you've got questions, we're here to answer and try to get you the answers that you're looking for, so you feel that you've gotten your questions answered.
Thank you very much. Pat, did you
I
want to
just want to say
something?
one thing about Don.
Thank you.
No problem. Pat Stevens, Recreation Supervisor. I just wanted to say about Don mentioned about an RFP. I have a book upstairs that's this thick. I contacted every organization that I could think of to come out to the property to make improvements, because I could see that it was deteriorating and nothing was happening with the property. I could not get one organization to come out and help make improvements. So I'm very thankful for Matt and his group for coming out. We talk quite frequently. He called me today. He gives me information. I go out there when I can. So it just looks wonderful. And I've been there through the summer when there's been lots of kids, and it's been absolutely fabulous. So I just wanted to mention that about the RFP. Thanks.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to say one other thing. Most of you don't know this. I don't think the board knows this. But when COVID came upon us, they were looking for dispensing points throughout the county because they didn't have enough places to give people the injection. And I called the county health department and I said, boy, do we have a deal for you. And you know what they told me? No, that property's in too rough a condition. What? We've got a desirable place and you say it's in too rough a condition? And I was asked, when were you over there last? Oh, about 6 months ago. You should go again, they told me. So when Matt and his crew came by, thanks to Victoria Mazzetti, we were delighted that they wanted to continue our talk and continue giving us information about their operation. And I'm delighted today that they are still with us. Yes, you spoke once, but
Right, yeah, just once. We're sorry. You can submit something in writing to us.
I liked what you said, but
Fair's fair.
would anyone else like to speak?
Yes, hello, hello.
Oh, Robin, you've already spoken. We apologize.
Yeah, I want to
You
claim
can-
a couple of minutes.
Robin, we're just doing
Robin
one.
report, 16 Meadowwood, Rush.
I know,
New York.
Robin, you've already spoken once.
Yes, I have. I'm going
I
to
know,
continue
so
speaking.
It's just once. I'm gonna mute you. My apologies.
All right, having no further
That'd be
business,
fair.
did you say something?
No, I'm just being fair. Go ahead, close the meeting.
Do I have your permission?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Having no further business to conduct on this subject matter, I hereby adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
Did the, I know. Oh, Lord. That's not true. I gotta watch that.
That's community involvement right there. So I didn't.
Uh,